Hi, it's been a while since the last episode of The Complainers, and I think it's about time for a new one. So, I'm Quynh here, and as you can tell from the title, I'm gonna complain about the whole body shaming, dieting culture, and like how it feels growing up being overweight. And especially I'm gonna focus on Vietnam because I feel like in the States or in more like the western side of the world, it's how can I put it, like body shaming is a thing. It's really bad, but it's very different from how it is in Vietnam and maybe Asian countries, but I can't not really speak for any Asian countries other than Vietnam, or I can't really speak for anybody other than myself because this is just my experience, and it sucks. And it's getting really cold here in Philly. It just makes me very sad. And when I'm sad and I just think about things that make me sad, and one of those things is that the whole thing of me growing up being overweight in Vietnam, and it's terrible, and I think it's like one of the biggest childhood trauma that I have, and I've never really shared it with anybody, and I try to not talk about it or like ignore it when it comes up in real life conversation sometimes, because it's such a big trigger for me. Like it's like this, it is my biggest insecurity growing up, and even still now. I don't know, maybe not as much now, but it was like my biggest insecurity growing up, pretty much. Yeah. So and I don't know if this is relatable at all, but come on, I just need to get this out. And I would like to also say that this is really hard for me to talk about, but it is. I feel like it would do me some good if I just, like just let it out, because it's been all my life. It's been a big thing that I just cannot overcome, and I don't think I will ever. I don't know. But anyways, so let's start. Because it's been quite a long of an intro, and I think I'm speaking a little bit too fast because I'm kind of nervous, even though I'm just speaking to nobody here, literally in my room with my phone recording this, and I'm having a little bit of a cold also, so excuse my voice and everything else. And so let's start. I was born like on a heavier side for a child, because like my mom was very fat well during her pregnancy, because I'm the first child, and so I don't know, like my mom said that we didn't have, like my family didn't have much money then, but during her first pregnancy she was fed very well, because she wasn't as how do I say it? She wasn't as busy compared to when she was pregnant with my second and third sister, because her job was not like a manager. She would just like a regular office worker, I think. I'm not sure because I wasn't born yet then. But anyway, I was born on a heavier side for a child, and I don't know if that has anything to do with it much, really, but yeah, so that's it. And growing up, like I was always on the chubby side, like don't you think it's just kind of funny, like as a kid, if you're like heavy, like heavier than other kids, and you'll be called chubby, and it's like, oh, it's so cute, everybody loves like a chubby baby. It's so cute, their cheeks are just so fluffy, and it's adorable. And then when you grow older and you're still heavy, and it's like gross, and it means that you have no sense of self-control, something like that. And it's just terrible. Anyways, so growing up, I was on the heavier side, but it wasn't like, I remember as a child, like people would say like, oh, I'm cute, because like, nobody really cares for a skinny baby, because that's just not cute, and a chubby baby is like the cutest thing in the world. And yeah, I get it. I think chubby babies are cute. Like I was cute once, not anymore, but and then I get a little bit older, I think very early on, like primary school, like the third year of primary school, elementary school, if you will. That is like that is when I was like 8 years old or 9, I think. And that is when the whole kind of like body shaming started, because that is when the kids around me, and not necessarily the parents, because I don't know, the parents just didn't really care that much then, because I was only 8 years old. But the classmates, I cannot call them friends because they're not, clearly we're not good friends, but the classmates kind of like starting to make fun of me, and it just, I feel so terrible. Like I'm so ashamed of myself all the fucking time. It's just terrible. And it's not technically my fault, because I was too young then to really understand anything really. And I guess it's not technically the classmates' fault, because they were also young, but if there's anybody to blame, it's them, because I just hated that so much. They make fun of me, they just kind of like created, they give you nicknames that are not cute at all, but I think that was funny, and they just laugh at it, and and then gradually it becomes your nickname, and I don't want to remember what my nickname was. It's just so, yeah, but I didn't really respond back, because like primary school was like a weird time for me. That was like when I was the most reserved and the most kind of like holding back my personalities, because I don't know why. Actually, I don't know why, but I primary school was like when I was not very open, and like there's a tremendous lack of self-esteem and confidence in me. And I right now I do have a serious like self-confidence problem, but back then it was worse. It was so much worse. I couldn't raise my hand in class to answer the teacher's questions, and I would sweat so much when the teacher pointed at me like randomly just to read a passage, or like just anything that has to be that has anything to do with standing up and have people looking at me, whether they care about me or not. Because I just like, the biggest insecurity for me at that time was not like that I was overweight. It was something bigger, but I think my weight and my physical appearance was a part of it. But anyways, like, so that was elementary school. That keeps going until it ended. And yeah, it was if there's anything at all that I can take out of elementary school, was that they're being made fun of, and that I was not smart enough was, yeah. So So that's the two big things. And then middle school was when I kind of like over it. Like I just kind of like feel like I need to not be shy and like reserved in order to protect myself from being humiliated. So I just kind of like become not exactly like, you know, sociable, but more like, I don't know, like more tough in a way that if somebody do something that I don't like, I would speak up to it, you know, if it was like, yeah. So I was starting to like speak up more, but the fat shaming was pretty bad, especially when you're like, you know, starting your teenage years, and everybody kind of like, oh god, I'm saying like so many times, take a shot every time I say like, but everybody started to be more conscious about their body, especially girls. I don't know about the guys, I can't speak for the guys, but the girls started to be more conscious, I think. And the guys starting to comment on the girl's body, which is like a terrible thing to do. Just think about it. It's totally inappropriate, because middle school, you're like 12, 13, 14, 15. Like, who are you to tell somebody that, oh, their body is good or their body is bad, like, or whether they look good looking or not, or, you know, anything about commenting on somebody's physical appearance is just unacceptable. Like, I mean, just think about it. But we were so young then, and I feel like the movement about respecting others people body just was not very relevant in Vietnam at that time, or even now. Maybe some kids were more polite and not saying it out loud, which I really appreciate, but that is not, you know, that is the minority, I believe. And then at that time, I just become so much more like conscious about what people think about me, because I starting to see not just boys but also girls having, like, saying out loud their opinions about other people's appearance. And I was very much overweight, I think. Like, not terribly overweight, but I definitely was overweight. And I feel bad for myself at that time. Just think about it now. But then that was also when my parents started to step in, because you know, they're starting to tell me, oh, don't eat as much rice as you would normally do, and don't eat as much meat and eat more vegetable, which is like, yeah, that's common sense. I mean, think about it, like, if you're overweight, then it's very likely that you're not healthy, and of course they want the best for me, so yeah, appreciate that. But I think they were just not how to say it, they were just not exposed to the whole gentle parenting thing. They just stick with what they knew growing up, which is like very old school parenting, and that didn't work for me. I just felt terrible every single time they comment on how I look, even though they're my parents, so they're not like harsh on me as much as other people who are just doesn't care about my feelings at all. But yeah, my parents would comment on me and like, oh yeah, you're overweight, and no, you have to control yourself. And especially my dad, I remember, I don't want want to make my dad sound like a terrible person, because he's not a terrible person. But what he did to me at that time was terrible. Let's put it that way, because that makes more sense. Like, yeah, he was calling me like a pig, or like fat pig, or something like that, or call me I'm stupid because I just there's no willpower in me and my diet and stuff like that, which is crazy. I was only 14 and I didn't know anything about nutrition, nor does anyone around me know anything about nutrition to lecture me on how to, have a more balanced diet, and and then movement and physical activities, like things like that. Well, granted, my dad is a dentist. So yeah, he went to my school, and he probably knows quite a bit about nutrition, I guess. And my mom also went to pharmacy school, so yeah, they probably know more about nutrition compared to like an average. I don't know what is an average parent, like, but let's say they know a bit more. But still, the general idea is that carb is really bad for you, meat is really bad for you, and vegetable is good for you, which is not totally wrong, but on a nutrition standpoint, that is not like that is just like not looking at the bigger picture about nutrition. But anyways, so yeah, middle school was very bad. I don't know if I ever cried. I don't think I ever cried because of the bad things that people say to me sometimes. Like it's not a thing that I received every day, but it is ingrained in my life, like minor things. For example, like I would be at lunch at school, right? And and at my school, your lunch are pre-portioned. And if I eat the whole thing, it's just I remember once, I can't remember exactly who that was or when that was, but I remember once it was during lunchtime, and I just grabbed the pre-portioned lunch and I ate the whole portion, because I just hate food waste. Hello. And somebody said that I'm just too fat to eat the whole thing, and I felt very terrible, and I really believed it, and I really believed that I shouldn't have ate the whole thing. Oh God, that is just, think about it. I don't know. And then like other little things, like the adults also tell me like, oh, how much do you weigh, and you overweight, and you should go on a diet and something like that. And they don't say it in like a serious way, but they kind of have joking about it, but they say it so often to me. And also the adults make fun of me sometimes. And like, I was like 13, 14 years old, so I didn't have the guts to stand up and speak about it and say that it's not helpful and appropriate for them to fat shaming me. Like, that just doesn't really work. And I think the worst thing was that they say that I have no willpower, and that really hurts, because I don't know why it hurts. I guess I know why. Anyways, but appearance and weight and body image kind of thing starting to become like a big thing in my life. Then but then at the same time, what was happening is that my like academic performance was also very important to me. And I kind of like cope myself out by trying to excel academically. So I tried really hard studying, and I ate a lot. Not exactly binge eating, but like I ate a lot. There was no boundaries or no restrictions at all, and I just ate my way through my feelings, I guess, because I get stressed. I get stressed, and like when I was a teenager, my hormones was everywhere. So yeah, I quickly gained a lot of weight, and it was kind of sad to think about it, like, because I feel like it's a way for me to validate myself. Like, I felt like if I excel academically, then I'm valid. I am important, even though I'm fat. Does that make sense? I hope it does. But yeah, that's how I felt. And then I remember one time I started to go on like 3 days diet, which is like crazy. Like, that rarely happens, but sometimes I just feel like, dude, I have to go on a diet so that these people who keep telling me to go on a diet will shut up. So I went on a diet. I can't remember what kind of diet that was, but it didn't work, obviously. And then during that time, I also on the weekends go to the parks with my dad, and just run around the park, exercise. And I remember one time there was this lady at the park who was like kind of like a newbie to that was not skateboarding. What was that? Skating, yeah. So she would, skate everywhere. Not really everywhere, just like a small part of the park. She would skate around that, and she's not like a pro or anything, so she falls and things like that. And skating was not a popular thing in Vietnam, and I got very fascinated, and I stopped by with my dad to see how it works, and I was very fascinated, even though she was a terrible skater, let's be real, which is fine. Everybody gotta start somewhere. And I remember to this day that I think she fell, and then I came over and picked her up to help her stand up, because it seemed as if she was having a hard time standing up again. With the skating shoe, it's kind of hard. And then we chat a little. I thought she was a nice lady. And then, yeah, a couple days later, I keep coming to that part of the park to see her skate. And then I think at one point I said something. I can't remember what it was. My dad was also there. But I think I said that just 1 second, I have to remember what it was. But I think I said something that upset her. So she said that I should educate myself and lose weight because I'm a girl and I'm so fat, and I should have willpower. And she said it in like a very aggressive way and very loud, and with my dad there, with everybody else there, and it's kind of like I feel incredibly humiliated. I think I don't think I cried, or maybe I cried, but I went home and cried in the toilet probably. But at this spot, I felt incredibly humiliated and shamed, and I just felt so bad. And she said, like, like I'm a pig or something like that, and that I'm a girl and I should be skinny and all of that stuff. And yeah, I never come back to that part of the park ever. And then I bought a skating, like a pair of skating shoes. I don't know what skaters, whatever they're called. I bought that and practice it so that I would be better than her. even though I never see her again. I just never come back to that part of the park ever. It's just traumatizing, and I will never forget that moment in my life. Like, it was like a big thing. Like, whenever I feel sad, I think about it. I think about that time when I was humiliated by this random lady who I thought was nice, but apparently she wasn't. And like, nobody stood up, even my dad, to tell her that yes, what you're saying is not wrong. Like the fact that I was overweight, like, yeah, that's a fact, but how she addressed it to me and the way she said it is totally inappropriate and just like terrible. Nobody stood up, and even my dad, which is kind of sad in a way. Like, I feel like in Vietnam, body shaming is so much more acceptable because like everybody there is smaller. Asians, everybody there is smaller, and the whole body positivity movement just has not really made its way to the country yet. I don't know about now. I'm not sure about now. And yeah, it's terrible. And then high school was weird because high school, if you listen to the other podcast episodes, then you would know that I went to like a very privileged, like a very elite high school in the southern part of Vietnam. And the kids there, I think they understand it. Like, they understand how to be nice people. Not all of them are nice though, but yeah, the majority of my classmates are very nice, and they probably have opinions about other people's physical appearance, whether they're fat or skinny, and they probably have a preference about it, but they don't say it out loud, and they don't say it in an offensive way that my middle school classmates were saying, which I really appreciate. And I think when I was in that high school, it was another thing that became like my bigger insecurity. It was studying and grades and all that kind of stuff, because suddenly in middle school I was like smart, kind of, I got good grades and stuff, but suddenly I come to this high school and everybody got good grades and everybody was smart, so I had to step it up, and it was really hard to compete with everybody, and at one point I just gave it up. I was like, yes, fuck this, I'm just gonna do my own shit. So yeah, but even then in high school, body image and like my weight and lose weight, dieting was still a big thing for me. I think but I never talk about it with other people because I feel so ashamed. Even now I feel very ashamed of it, I think. But anyways, and then I after 10th grade, I went to the US to study, and it's like a different thing because here everybody's so much bigger than me. I'm not like fat anymore, I guess. And the lifestyle change. Like, I at one point, my aunt could not drive me to school anymore because it just doesn't fit with her working schedule. So I have to take the bus, and I have to walk a lot because from the SoCal, Southern California, bus, like, public transportation sucks. So I had to walk to the bus station, and then from the bus station to school, and vice versa. And so I have to walk a lot. My diet changed gradually because because I was exposed to different kinds of foods, and then I went vegan, which means automatically I had to eat more vegetables. So yeah, but so and then I just gradually lose weight, and then I started to exercise, and then like I go on a run and at home exercise, things like that. So I would lose weight throughout the years that I was in the US. So I think I lost about 25 pounds or 20 pounds, something like that. Let me see, 30 pounds. Yeah, I think I lost about 30 pounds, almost 35 or something like that. And it changed how I look. And I'm not necessarily skinny now, like totally not. In Vietnam, I was still on the heavy side, I think, maybe. Or maybe that's because of my insecurity. But yeah, I'm also quite tall for a Vietnamese girl also. So like I have a bigger figure, whatever that is. But yeah, I am not like fat anymore, but I'm not skinny. I'm just like normal. And the thing that sucks is that when I came back to Vietnam and then people meet me, they were kind of like shocked because I lost so much weight. And it's kind of funny too, because when I was living with my aunt and then I moved to Philly, I also lost like a couple more pounds. So yeah, anyway, so when I came back to Vietnam, everybody was kind of shocked that I lost so much weight and that I'm not fat anymore, which is, yeah, well, of course, I mean, losing 35 pounds, of course I'm gonna look different. But how to say it, what sucks is that I was treated very differently from compared to when I was 35 pounds heavier, and when I was living there. And it just made me so sad thinking about my past self, because I don't know, like when I was in Vietnam and 30 pounds lighter, people treated me nicer, and it sucks. It's not that, I mean, like, just think about it. Like, people always say that your weight doesn't matter, the number on the scale doesn't matter. It's what matters is the inside. But at that point, I realized that's not true. It's not the inside that matters, it's the outside. And it's just so sad thinking about it that way. And even my parents treat me different. And it's not like it's their fault. It's kind of like the culture kind of ingrained in their mindset, when it comes to body image and weight and all that stuff. And recently, my mom has been taking a lot of like parenting courses because she's very interested in it, so that she could not do a better job, kind of, quote unquote, on parenting my second and third sister. And she called me the other day and she apologized that when I was growing up, she didn't know what is the right way to parenting. Like, she just treated me how she was treated the old school way, like 30 years ago, by her parents, which are my grandparents. So she apologized to me that even though she didn't know the right way to raise me, I still grew up and be a nice kid, and I didn't just become like a crazy rebellious kid, and yeah, I think it's very nice of her to acknowledge kind of like her mistakes and her failures as a parent. And I think my dad also feel like he is not the type of person that would say it, but it shows in his actions, and yeah, I appreciate it. And that's what set parents apart from other people. But other people treat me very well when I'm not fat anymore, which is just so sad. I think about it and I just want to cry. Like, yeah, I deserve all of the nice treating, but the fat me a couple of years ago also deserved to be treated nicely. But no, I feel so sad. And yeah, and I just hope that one day the whole body shaming thing and the whole body positive thing would make his way to Vietnam, and nobody would have to suffer from that terrible experience. And it's not an intense thing. It's not like, the fat me would go out and be humiliated every minute of my life. No, it was like minor things that add up, and yeah, even now I'm just scared to step on a scale, and I don't care as much anymore about what I eat and the food that I eat, because I'm vegan. It's not that big of a deal. But I think in the past, especially when I first went vegan, I actually had a few like disorder eating patterns. I didn't have an eating disorder, but I do have like disorder eating behavior, I feel, because I was like trying to figure out what works for me. So now it's not that much anymore, but I'm still kind of scared to look at the number of a scale and to see if I gain weight or not, because I don't want to. I just think about the fat me and how badly I was treated and how nicely I am treated right now, and I just don't want to go back to that time. And I just wish it would be different. Yeah. Anyway, that's it. That's everything I have to say and complain. I don't know. The whole body thing is still a very big insecurity for me. And hope. I don't know about losing weight though. I don't know if I want to lose more weight. Probably. If I want to look like a fucking model or something. But it's not that big of a deal for me anymore. It's just still my insecurity, and I don't know how to grow out of it because I grew up with it and it's just ingrained in my personality. Not really personality, in my mindset. And I just, I care so much about how people think about me, like, no matter what I do. And I think that has something to do with, growing up being fat. And I don't think fat is like a bad word. Like, fat is just like a descriptive, like an adjective to describe a person appearance. It doesn't mean anything other than that. But the whole culture thing, wherever you are, just kind of make it bad. And yeah, so I don't feel it as much, the whole body shaming thing as much now that I'm in the States, probably because I don't really interact with a lot of people now. That's a whole other story. But and also because I'm 35 pounds lighter now. So yeah. But I just thinking back and feel terrible for myself and just hated everybody who hurt me on my journey. Anyway, that's it. That's everything that I have to say for now. And I guess if anything, I hope you would find it relatable to some degree. And I know the whole body shaming thing doesn't just apply to fat people. It also applies to skinny people, but I have never been skinny, so I can't really talk about it. So yeah, that's it. And yeah, bye. Have a great day.